and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Girl on the Line by Faith Gardner. I listened to this in March of 2021 and it was really well done. It was a little jarring because I went from Clap When You Land to this book, and the characters have very different experiences and voices, obviously different voice actresses and stuff, but when you get into it, you really get into it. And it's about this girl named Journey. It starts immediately after she has tried to commit suicide. So Journey is somebody, and she explains this a lot in the book, that she has these big feelings. She is manic, and that's what I thought when I started first reading the book. She eventually gets diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but she's constantly questioning whether that diagnosis is correct. She has come off of not only her parents separating and divorcing and slowly starting to meet new people, to breaking up with her boyfriend, who she's been madly in love with since they were children, and I believe she overdoses on her bipolar medication. She ends up getting found. When the story opens, she's waking up in the hospital to her parents, who again are on the outs because they're no longer together and are currently living very different lives from each other. She's confronted with the fact that, one, she realized as she was dying that she didn't want to die, and that she has kind of shattered the trust her family has in her. It doesn't just affect the trust that she has with her parents, it affects the trust that she has with her younger sisters, the trust she has in her own self, and her ex-boyfriend, and her best friend, Marisol. I thought this book was very, very well done. Journey, it's in first person, so it's all from Journey's perspective, and it's a coming of age story essentially, and she is going through the most. She, as I said before, she has big feelings, so she's always reflecting on her thoughts. She has negative thoughts and she's like, oh, why did I think that thought? And I think that's a very human thing, and I think at one point in time somebody does tell her that, like, what you are experiencing is very normal. People go through this all the time. Some people just not necessarily extremely as you, or some people are more extreme than you, but it's very human to have negative thoughts, to have positive thoughts, to have very highs and very lows, and it's normal. What this book does well is it talks about issues related to mental health and diagnoses. Journey ends up getting diagnosed by a psychiatrist that does a test on her. It's like a questionnaire. They never really talk. She doesn't get to talk about her feelings, so that's part of the reason why she thinks that she got misdiagnosed. And then she goes to another psychiatrist who's like, well, I'm not gonna put you through a test, but somebody already diagnosed you. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. It's a process of going to therapy and, you know, getting out of her environment. And I think that is something that happens to a lot of people, where it's not just your friends group. Sometimes it's the town you live in, like especially if you're in a small town and everyone knows everybody. Sometimes you need to get out of your environment and put yourself into a new environment to grow and learn and heal. So with Journey, she ends up leaving school and going to, like, essentially she gets to start college and start earning credits while she's finishing her senior year in high school, so that she can graduate on time, because her grades were starting to slip and so on and so forth. And Journey is constantly doing research and learning that some people are misdiagnosed and some people are diagnosed properly, and I just thought it was done very well. I don't know if the length of the book was too long. Like I said, there's a lot of references to her big feelings, and at some point in time, closer towards the end of the novel, I was like, okay. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought, you know, this is definitely somebody that can be seen as an unlikable character, but I feel like she was likable in that she learns, you know? She isn't self-absorbed, and she isn't, I mean, she is kind of. She is. There's definitely points in time where she is only thinking about herself, but then there are moments where she reflects back on that stuff and she's like, maybe I was wrong, and I liked that. Could she have apologized more? Probably. But I did like the fact that she at least acknowledges the times in which she was wrong. Good part of being on the line is Journey ends up working in a call center. It was essentially part of her healing and part of community service, her being the person on the other line, the person who is there for somebody who is in a bad place in their life. So overall, I would give this book maybe 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm trying to think about other characters that I've read about recently and where Journey ranks on the list of characters that I like. And so yeah, that was Girl on the Line by Faith Gardner. I think overall the book was about 7-8 hours long as an audiobook, but really well done. I really liked the voice acting. So highly check that out if you are interested in a coming of age story and you want one that's pretty realistic. I would check this book out. Okay.